This video is with one of the early pioneers of RippleNet technology. They were part of a handful of XRP on-demand liquidity users back in 2019. I'm talking about the Australian technology-driven global payments company FlashFX. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did making it. Nicolas, so great to see you. It's been a little bit. It's been since December. I took a look. It's been since December 2019.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to be back.
So there's going to be probably people who are watching this video who aren't exactly sure who is Nicolas Steiger and what is he doing and how does he fit into what's going on in the world of XRP.
Of course, I'm happy to do a quick introduction. Yeah, my name is Nicolas Steiger. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer for FlashFX. We've been, a Ripple partner, been using XRP, various solutions within the Ripple world since 2017, and now, yes, a long time. We are an Australian Ripple partner. We are on ODL for our payments from Australia out, a number of corridors. And just end of this month, we're gonna, be more on the receiving ends into Australia. So FlashFX, in essence, is, for our Australian clients, a one-stop shop for, domestic and global payments. Where we want to utilize blockchain or Ripple, but still have to, use the more traditional FX liquidity and Swift payments or local payments where we can't yet access through the Ripple network. We've sort of been very excited being on this journey with Ripple, with XRP, and yourself and any of your viewers. For us, I know we sort of maybe go into more detail later. Like we're, like a XRP for us is utility. We use it to make payments. It's the internet of value. As from the early days, we talked about how Ripple is or XRP is being used. That's really what it is all about for us, about the efficiency, the speed of payments, the ease of use, using RippleNet. And for us, it's been a great change since we last spoke, 2 years ago around our business, helping Australian consumer and business clients, but most recently, connecting more on a B2B side with other financial institutions, both domestically in Australia and overseas. So in essence, acting as a correspondent bank on RippleNet in and out of Australia.
Yeah, you were really an early adopter. It's 2017 to be leaning into that technology at that time was pretty amazing. And I'm sure that you have really seen the build out, and it's been pretty exciting because this is really catching steam now in terms of the digital transformation with all of the online transfers. So yeah, your timing was really brilliant. So you're lucky to be in this Asian Pacific region, which is on fire. And I think as we normalize back to our ability to move more freely, Australia has a pretty big migrant population, right? You have, yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, and when I take a look at the demographics of what's in Japan, I would imagine it's very similar. But you're so lucky too that you're in a country that is very crypto friendly in terms of regulation. That's been another real advantage. I mean, you just have a lot of lucky stars lining up.
Yeah, look, I've previously been involved. I think it's now probably 3 years ago when working with Austrac and FinTech Australia at the time to have that legislation put in place that crypto exchanges can report their their transactions, anything that's going in and out of, as a gateway. We report all our transactions irrespectively, international and domestic transactions. I think the level, the environment has certainly improved. I think it's good to sort of see that a number of other, digital asset crypto currencies are there. It's a broader acceptance in the markets among, retail investors. I think what has lacking a bit is more the institutional appetite and risk appetite. I think I would have hoped, looking back 2 years, that we would have improved more on that front. And I think to a certain degree, we sort of see those who sort of follow the whole discussions around the SEC and Ripple. I think everyone who, probably 6-12 months ago was ready to jump on board is sort of just, wait and see until that's cleared and clarified what that regulatory certainty is for more institutional flow to come in. And I think that will be helpful, overall for the Ripple products to have more liquidity, liquidity providers, other, I think there's no shortage of people who, see an opportunity and want to do something. And I think that's great. But in terms of to take the next level, next steps, that institutional, support is needed. And, like in Australia specifically, I think the banks are still quite, cautious and not quite sure yet where it's going. I think they can see the trend, but they're sort of not, they haven't really defined a timeline for when they are ready to, really participate. And there's enough safeguards in place for them to be comfortable.
But this is also can be very much an advantage also in terms of it's a time to do some build out and some preparation for when that faucet does turn into a gushing flow instead of just a drip. But you recently went through some funding for a raise. I'm curious how that went, and I know you were going to use some of that money to do a build out. I'm curious also what kind of build out you're working on.
Yeah, like I think you might have mentioned something in one of your previous podcasts. Like we're still in the capital raise, so we do a capital raise on Equities, and we had some really good interest and demand from I think 950, almost 1,000 expression of interest. We're still sort of in a private phase for getting a few keystone investors on board, and as soon as that's sort of available, we've sort of been hoping earlier, but it looks like later this month we will open up to the public, and everyone who has signed up and expressed their interests will be able to participate. It is an Australian crowdfunding platform, Equities, and it's from a retail point of view, I think quite minimal amounts. The only issue for investors or people think, hey, FlashFX is interesting. If they're from overseas, then usually the minimum investment amount is around 10,000 Australian dollar equivalent. But like anyone is welcome to sign up and participate. And like we really enjoy having lots of different engagements, had different discussions with potential investors who want to join the journey we're on. And like as I probably mentioned previously, like that's our first funding round, so we've been going for a number of years, been lucky enough not to, or self-funding pretty much, but now we're sort of getting to extent where we're doing so much, we have so much volume going through our platform. And just funny enough, yesterday we had one of our biggest days in terms of number of transactions that we've been doing, which is almost 10 times what our average is, and that's just absolutely amazing to sort of see that flow actually finally being bombarded into the FlashFX platform. And it's just smooth sailing, it just happens, and we do our stuff, and it's good to see. Yeah,
congratulations. It's exciting, it's fun. I'm sure it's really fun to see those numbers grow. So when I was on the website, which by the way is beautiful, I don't know who built it, but I love your branded color. It's kind of that, not indigo, not purple. I don't know, you probably have an official color name for it, but anyway, it is really a beautiful site, and there are some interesting speed comparisons that caught my eye, because you are comparing different transfer speeds with a couple of different corridors. You've got the Great British Pound, you have the Euro, you had the US dollar, you had the Philippine peso, and you had the Thai baht. And the speed, the differences is really significant. I mean, you're looking at a couple of the big banks there, what, Westpac and ANZ, and they're doing it in 3 to 4+ days, and you are able to work into a couple of those corridors, I noticed, in the Philippines and Thailand in particular, instantly. So that tells me that they are probably well equipped with RippleNet. But the one corridor that I saw that I was surprised to see was the British Pound. What's happening there?
Yeah, like with the announcement from Ripple, so FlashFX is now using ODL to make payments to the UK as well as Europe, and that's really amazing for us in terms of how we can improve the efficiency of those payments. Specifically into the UK, with the faster payments, we get it to the UK with a number of minutes, and then those payments are released. So within 10 minutes or so, funds who physically in Australia can get transferred to the UK using ODL, and then with our distribution partner making the final last mile distribution in the UK. I think that's just that's sort of the power that we want to see and experience as a consumer, as a user of FlashFX. And not everyone who signs up and uses the service sort of realizes that ODL is used, and that's okay. It's not really important. Important is am I happy with FlashFX? Am I happy with the rates I see and the speed I receive? And I think what you mentioned with other banks, you have the visibility of what is happening. And I think that's the big change, as opposed to like going online or walking a branch and coming out a piece of paper and not really knowing what and when and how this is going to happen. So I think using that as an online payment service and have that sort of support and be informed is really the benefit. So that's sort of what we've been waiting for. There is obviously more work happening with other corridors we want to do, and I wished we could have done more since we last spoke in terms of the ODL corridors, but I guess it sort of comes back down to that markets being ready to receive at the other end. For us, for Ripple, what's important now is we are on the ODL on the receiving side, and a bigger partner should be hopefully going live end of this month, and hopefully a lot more are coming who are already using ODL in whatever markets they operate.
Yeah, well, it's a step-by-step process. The rails go down, then the demand is built up with the liquidity and facilitators to help make that happen, and then the digital asset can be put in. It's a process, and I think most of the XRP holders now really understand that this is not a flip of the switch. It is a step-by-step process to get it done. I did a tweet last night, and I think visually it really works for people. I want to see the on-demand liquidity look like a plate of spaghetti with all the live corridors, and I think eventually, as all of those corridors come live, it will look like a big plate of spaghetti. Almost like the have you ever been to Tokyo and experienced the underground metro system here? It's a
I have not, no.
it's a big plate of spaghetti, so many lines. You know, they're really expert too at building the lines underground, and just in some places where two lines will be parallel or crossing, there's just literally like 2 feet of difference between the two. It's really quite amazing in terms of the engineering that was done. So I had discovered, and I don't know if this is something that you're doing now, but there is a new patent that it was filed by Ripple at the last week in June, and it looks like ODL is going to be using these wallets, these individual crypto wallets. This is what was outlined in one of the patents, and that's a little bit different than before, because before you were relying on a third-party facilitator, I believe, and now it looks like they're moving towards individual crypto wallets for ODL users, so you can draw on that as needed, right? Is that something that is happening already?
Yes. Look, the version 1 of ODL and that we use is you have 2 exchanges on either end. So we send Australian dollars to exchange, gets converted to XRP. XRP is sent on ledger to the recipient exchange and then convert back into fiat. That's how it originally started, and that's how we're still operating. Version 2, I think it's the wallet send. I think it's the sort of technical term, is in essence where the sending entity receives a balance of XRP from Ripple, and as it gets converted, as we submit a transaction, then a balance of XRP is taken to send to the recipient exchange, converted into fiat, whereby then the sending entity, like FlashFX in that case, would reimburse Ripple directly with Australian dollars.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like from reading the technicalities, a whole system that manages that balance of the wallet. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Well,
it's still ODL. It just it's a to a certain degree simplified. Businesses then will have that balance of XRP, which is just used to facilitate the payments, and then retrospectively you sort of fund or pay Ripple back in a certain time period to settle that payment. It's just sort of taking out a bit of the headaches at times with like instead of using 2 exchanges, there's only a destination exchange.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's simplified. So since you and I last talked, they also, Ripple, launched the line of credit. And I hear, this is something they talk about often, especially when they highlight the small to medium-sized enterprise businesses. They promote this line of credit. Is that something that is useful for you as well?
I think that's, I'm maybe not as close or confused, but in terms of that wallet send and line of credit is, I think, one of the same. So you get a line of credit in terms of you get that XRP, in your balance, and as you use it, you repay that line of credit.
I got it. So
do you know what I mean?
Integrated.
So
Yeah,
I get,
do.
Yeah. So that's, like either you repaid in full or like we are not using it. Either you paid in full or it gets replenished, as you, like it always has to sort of be a certain balance.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, so you can draw down on it, and when you do draw down on it, that difference is what would be considered like the line of credit you tapped into, and then it comes back in to bring the balance up. I got that. Yeah, it makes sense. yeah, when the first line of credit announcement was made, it didn't really fully click in my brain how that was going to work, but I think now I totally understand. So yeah, it's I just think that it's so nice to see you, and I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk. You were the very first on-demand liquidity user I ever spoke to. I can remember, just because I was so excited at that time, and now paying attention closely as to who is uh, using and coming on board the with the digital asset XRP. That it's just I'm really happy that this kind of vision that has been laid out is coming to fruition, and I can just in my brain envision all these crypto wallets out there that are full of XRP and it's being used, and we've got this plate of spaghetti, and then there's going to be this beautiful fast, low cost speed of transfer of value that's moving around the globe. It's fantastic. So I really think I'll give you a chance to wrap it up and tell us anything that we should know and look forward to. And yeah, please, your final words.
My final words. I'm not sure if I have much wisdom to share, but look, I think it's good to see that that your channel is growing. We have more people interested in what Ripple is doing with XRP. A better understanding on it's not just digital assets and price driven, but really I urge everyone to sort of look at the utility of XRP as a digital asset. I think that's the main bit, how it's be used, the different use cases, and that's what we've been looking for from day one. We're happy on our path that we're on. With our Ripple partnership, the institutions that we can help on RippleNet. I'm not sure, what the current number is, probably not officially communicated, but I'm sure there's plenty and growing, and I think that's really the key. With the announcement that came around us using ODL, using the pound corridor, Europe. I think we need a lot more, and even with other Australian entities being on ODL, I think that's just great. So it's it's not a I have to be the first or the only one. It's kind of it's like we're on the same boat.
Yeah, well, I want to say congratulations, and I want to say, as an XRP holder too, I really want to thank you for hanging in there and building this whole vision out as one of the participants. So thank you, and I look forward to my channel even taking on more audience from Australia. As I told you right before we went to hit the record button, it is consistently number 4 in terms of audience, and there is a lot of, I think, really enthusiastic people from Australia that love the technology. And you're right, the technology and the utility at the end of the day is really what we should be focused on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
All the best.
Nicolas, thank you so much, and do take care, and we won't go so long before we have you back on. I'm positive that there's going to be new developments with new corridors, and I'm going to reach out to you and tell you, hey, come on, let's do it again.
I'm sure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.